Hi, welcome to Pamela Price Unfiltered. I'm Pamela Price, your host, and this is a space and the place for real talk. This podcast is all about raw, unfiltered conversations on politics, law, education, culture, systemic racism, and everyday events shaping our world. We'll go beyond the headlines to dive deep into how some of our most pressing issues are impacting real people, real families, and our communities. My goal is to help you navigate the complexities of today's world. We'll hear from community leaders, activists, lawyers, educators, healers, and everyday people on the front lines of change. Each episode will tackle an issue, breaking it down in a way that's honest, informative, and actionable. For those tuning in for the first time, I'm Pamela Price, a longtime attorney, political activist, and champion for justice. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel to watch the show and to my Substack to read the weekly word. Your support keeps the conversation raw and unfiltered. And you can listen to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Welcome to the show. Let's talk about it. Welcome to Legally Speaking. On day one of Donald Trump's second term, he signed the Laken-Riley Act, and this is an update on that act. The Laken-Riley Act was one of 6 high-priority Republican bills written to address the deportation of undocumented residents. The Laken-Riley Act was named for a 22-year-old female nursing student at the University of Georgia in Athens. She was killed by an undocumented immigrant from Venezuela in 2024. The Republicans fast-tracked the Laken-Riley Act so that Trump could sign it on his first day. It makes 2 major changes. Before January 2025, agents from ICE and the Department of Homeland Security had discretion only to detain undocumented immigrants accused of serious crimes like rape, domestic violence, murder, and some drug offenses. The new law requires agents to detain anyone accused of shoplifting, theft, or burglary, or assaulting an officer, or any other minor crime. The act does not require a conviction, just an arrest for deportation. It also allows the states to sue the federal government over immigration policies they don't like. Why does it matter to Alameda County more than anywhere else? Because we are one of the most diverse counties in the entire United States. 31% of our residents were born outside of the United States. 43% of our residents are bilingual and speak a language other than English at home. 53% of our children live with a foreign-born parent. Our ballots are printed in more than 14 different languages. Immigrants have settled here from dozens of countries: Mexico, Afghanistan, Vietnam, China, the Philippines, Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, Haiti, Nigeria, Yemen, Eritrea, and Ethiopia, to name a few. In 2025, the Board of Supervisors relaunched the Alameda County Immigration Legal and Educational Partnership Hotline to serve our immigrant population and to protect our residents. The Board of Supervisors also initiated Alameda County Together for All, a committee or Act for All, which is designed to uphold the rights of immigrants, transgender people, and people seeking abortions in our county. In 2021, there was an ad hoc committee that issued recommendations for most county agencies during Trump's first administration. One important recommendation that I can tell you was not followed was more funding for the district attorney's office to hire an immigration lawyer and 2 full-time victim advocates to increase the DA's capacity to help victims of crime and outreach to the community about what the district attorney can do to and with immigrants to help them. In our first segment on the Laken-Riley Act back in February, we talked about where do people go when they are detained. In California, most people went to the Golden State Annex in McFarland, California, or the Mesa Verde Detention Center in Bakersfield. These are private prisons non-union facilities run by the GEO Group. In 2023, the GEO Group was fined $100,000 for health and safety violations at the Golden State Annex. In 2024, complaints against the GEO Group were filed by the ACLU and the San Francisco Lawyers Committee following attacks by the guards on detainees on April 15, 2024, where the guards allegedly assaulted people, verbally abused them, destroyed their personal possessions, and used pepper spray. Now, we see detainees are being shipped to New York and Washington State. Centro Legal de la Raza is warning residents that ICE is now the best funded law enforcement agency of the federal government, and that the lawyers need more resources from state and local government to fight back. At a press conference in Oakland, the managing attorney of Centro Legal de la Raza, Nicolas de Braymaker, warned our city. The Trump administration is not playing by the rules. They're breaking the law, and the only way to address this is by bringing petitions to the federal court. We know that Donald Trump is not playing by the rules. He is bending every rule and violating every law to achieve his objective. Let us not forget that during his campaign, he repeatedly emphasized Nazi-era rhetoric that immigrants are, quote, poisoning the blood of our country. For those who don't know, the phrase poisoning the blood of our country is straight out of Hitler's manifesto, Mein Kampf, his blueprint for a pure Aryan Germany and the removal and slaughter of the Jewish people. When ABC White House correspondent and anchor Terry Moran called out Trump's senior White House advisor Stephen Miller as a world-class hater, in Moran's own words, he used very strong language deliberately. Stephen Miller is a far-right white nationalist. Miller's influence on our government and Donald Trump is white supremacy unleashed and running loose in our country. We all need to be paying attention like never before. We are only 8 months in, and Trump is moving swiftly forward. If you are not alarmed, you should be. Only the people who reject racism absolutely and unequivocally will prevail in this fight. And we will need all the lawyers we can find to fight Trump. If you can, please send a donation to Centro Legal de la Raza at 3400 East 12th Street in Oakland, California, 94601. Thank you. So what next? Oakland is in Donald Trump's crosshairs. He's planning to send the National Guard into our streets any day now. He did it in LA. He did it in DC. We are on his list of very bad cities that he intends to liberate from the Democrats. This is no surprise. We were on his hit list in his first term. Indeed, several Democratic politicians like Mayor Libby Schaaf and Eric Swalwell used Trump squawking about Oakland in his first term to their political advantage. Back then, the threat was not as real as it is now, so people with no real backbone could posture around their opposition to Trump. In 2025, the threat is real. Just last week, an ICE break-in to a residence in East Oakland was confirmed, where it appears that an entire family was detained. The family includes a disabled child who has now been separated from his family, allegedly sent to New York. The family allegedly includes a man who came to the United States when he was just 9 years old. Their lawyer says none of them have any significant criminal history. Given Trump's ICE quota of 3,000 arrests per day and the Laken-Riley Act, a criminal history is no longer a reason for detaining you or your whole family. That was apparently just a ruse, a convenient ruse, to get the ball rolling. According to our new mayor, Barbara Lee, Trump's remarks are fear-mongering and not fact. The fact is, there has been a citywide decline in violent crime, including homicides, robberies, and carjackings, that started in 2024 before the infamous recalls. The problem is that for the past 2 years, the right-wing doom loopers spent so much time and money fear-mongering, trashing our city and tearing us down. No wonder Trump can say, quote, we're so far gone, we don't even merit a mention. The NAACP of Oakland, the Oakland Police Officers Association, Empower Oakland, the Safe, recall people, their paid agents, bots, and provocateurs. You can't take it back now. According to your mayoral candidate, Lauren Taylor, Oakland is broken, a consequence of years of corruption, mismanagement, and self-dealing that needs to be treated with urgency. Taylor, like Trump, campaigned on a law and order platform. Remember when certain recall leaders labeled Barbara Lee as Shang 2.0 and claimed that Oakland's problems were just a little bit too complex for Barbara Lee, and that Barbara Lee lacks the right priorities to tackle Oakland's pressing issues, especially public safety. The misogynist racist attacks that worked so well in the recalls were recycled in the mayoral election and enhanced with ageism. It was that type of Trump-like right-wing rhetoric that Oaklanders rejected when we elected Barbara Lee. But now we must reap what you sowed. It was unimaginable to the doom leapers that we could have a black woman mayor after they successfully recalled the first black woman district attorney. All of that hate that was spewed all around us is now coming back to haunt us. So what do we do now? Maybe those who spent 2 years trashing Oakland instead of championing our city should apologize to the rest of us and the world. Maybe even Governor Newsom, who suggested that the CHP was going to replace the Oakland Police Department, or that the Department of Justice, California Department of DOJ, was going to take over the DA's office. Maybe he should apologize. Who needs a prayer vigil for a $1 billion food chain that was accused of race discrimination not too long ago? How many black people own In-N-Out burger franchises? I'll wait. The answer is none. I like Five Guys better than In-N-Out burger anyway, and they actually have black franchisees. I hear that some of the fearmongers want to stand behind the first black woman mayor now because they're more scared of the National Guard than they are of her. A good choice. More people, from business leaders to pastors to state and congressional politicians, need to step up and tell the world that Oakland is incredibly diverse and proud of it, that we bring culture and flavor and food to the Bay that stands out from anything San Francisco or San Jose has to offer, that we have beautiful and vibrant neighborhoods, that we have an amazing port that is a major international trade hub and the economic driver for the entire Bay Area, that we have a world-class science center and a fabulous zoo, that we have the best Dia de las Muertos festival in the Bay, and that our people are our greatest asset, and we love Oakland. How about that? Other cities have problems just like Oakland, but instead they celebrate the positive. People still go to Chicago and New Orleans and New York and D.C. and Portland, even San Francisco and other major cities, even though they struggle with crime, addiction, and homeless encampments. Where is the positive energy for Oakland? We need to get our heads on straight and our hearts raised up for Oakland. It's time to change the narrative with the conviction in our hearts that Oakland is a great city and that we don't need billionaires and fascists to tell us how to live here. Otherwise, welcome the National Guard. Thanks for tuning in to Pamela Price Unfiltered. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel to watch the weekly show. And please sign up this month as a founding member of my Substack or a paid subscriber. Your support keeps the conversation raw and unfiltered. And you can listen to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for tuning in.